All right, man, you ready for this? What you want to say to YouTube? Nothing? All right, that's cool. You don't need to say nothing. Follow you on TikTok. What's your TikTok?
AlexC78.
AlexC78. All right, we got it, man. We're going to put it down in the comments or in the bio, also the description. That way they know where to get at you. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Choppin', and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, so jumping straight into this haircut. As you can see, I'm taking my detachable clippers. I got my number 2 blade on my clippers and I'm going over the top. And y'all know how I do it, man. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna get this all down to that length. You know, he wanted a 1.5, but I decided to use a detachable clipper, so I put a number 2 on there. That's because this number 2 blade is a little shorter than the number 2 guard, so it's almost like a 1.5. It's actually slightly longer, but I just felt like I was gonna give it a good look, so that's what I decided to do. So as y'all seen in the beginning of the video, y'all seen my boy say go follow him on TikTok. So y'all make sure y'all head over. If y'all got TikTok, y'all head over to his page. Y'all give him a follow one time for your boy. You know how we do it, man. But anyways, getting back into this cut, we just going over the top. Like I said, guys, we're gonna clean it all up. We're getting all the way down to that desired length, and then we're gonna be doing a mid fade, and then we're gonna take it down to skin on the sides. Alright, so since I did go with the number 2 all the way around, well, all the way on top, what I'm doing here is I actually have my number 1.5 blade, and I'm just debulking the sides, because basically what happens is this 1.5 blade fades really well into that number 2 blade. So I decided to do that for my debulking around the ridge area, just so it, you know, just so this fade fades into the top really nice, and you know, it makes it a little easier for me. Alright, so now I'm taking my trimmers, and all I'm doing here, guys, we balding them out. Like I said, we are going to be doing a mid fade, so we're going to be going up, you know, a good amount. You know, we're not necessarily going to leave his C cups too dark, but at the same time, we're not going to cut them completely off. And we're just going to, as you can see, I'm setting this guideline, and I will be dropping it in the back slightly. I know how I do it with my fades, guys. You know, slightly, not too much, just a little bit. But we're going to be dropping the fade down in the back, and then we're just going to connect it to the other side, make sure it's all even, and then we're going to take the sides down to skin with the shaver. So as you can see, I'm going in with that shaver right now, and what I'm doing is I'm taking this shaver right below that line that I created with my trimmers, and the closer I get to that line, I'm actually relieving some pressure, and I'm using a slight flick out motion. And the reason for me doing that is just so it doesn't leave a harsh line, because you know, we obviously trying to take this this fade to the next level, so we ain't trying to leave no lines in there. And when you do a slight flick out motion and you relieve pressure, it really fades into that trimmer a lot easier than if like let's say I went all the way up to that line and pushed pretty hard on the head. It'll make that line that I did with the trimmer, it'll make that really hard to get out. And that's the reason for us, you know, using that slight flick out motion and relieving pressure the closer we get to that line. Alright, so I did decide to use my Andis Masters. I hadn't used them in a while. I said, you know what, let me get them out, let me dust them off real quick and put them in use. But what I'm doing right here is I got my clipper all the way open, and I'm setting in my next guideline. So I'm going to be coming up about 3/4 of an inch or so, and as y'all can see, I am using a slight flick out motion, setting in this next guideline, and then I'm going to fade this guideline down. Meaning, once I'm done with this guideline and I go over it a good amount of times, you know, I want to be real consistent with it. Once I do that, I'm going to start fading down by adjusting my lever closed. So I will be adjusting my lever halfway closed, coming up, you know, about halfway into that section, maybe 3/4 into that section, and then I will be closing my levers, I will be closing my lever notch by notch and attacking that bottom line. And I know a lot of people do the, when they fade with the masters, they fade slightly different because, they open up a little more. But I like to keep my stuff real consistent, guys. I like to do the exact same steps that I do with any clipper. So I don't like to, make things more difficult for me than I have to do. So I just follow the same guidelines basically. So, like I said, I started all the way open, closed it halfway, and then went notch by notch to get that bottom line out. And that's the same thing I would do with almost any clipper. Like sometimes I do switch it up slightly, but for the most part, that's just how I do my, my fades. And as you can see, guys, I am, adjusting that lever, doing some slight lever play within this section. Just, I'm just detailing this section, making sure I get it nice and even, nice and blurry before I move on. However, there will be some discrepancies in there, and that's totally fine. So this is my number 1 guard, and I started with my lever halfway open. It might have been all the way open. I wasn't even paying attention. But I went in, and I was cleaning up that ridge area, and then I closed my lever all the way, and I'm still cleaning up this line at the bottom of that next section. And as you can see, it's not getting that line completely out, and that's perfectly fine, because we can come back in with that 0 guard, and this is my number 1 guard, like I previously said, and it's not going to get that line out completely, like I said, guys, because there is a little gap between the clipper open and the number 1 guard. So therefore, I am going to go in with that 0 guard after this and take care of that line. But if you're curious to what I am doing, I'm just doing some slight detail work within this section. So like I said, I'm just adjusting that lever as needed, trying to clean up any discrepancies I see right now. That way I don't have to do too much detailing later on. But we can always come back and detail as needed. Now I'm going in with that 0 guard. I started off with my lever halfway open. And then I'm just, just attacking that line. And if that line doesn't come out, then I'm going to close my lever like I just did right there and come at that line. Just a little shorter, just try to make sure that line and then dark areas become completely erased. I don't even know if that's the proper way to say that. But I'm trying to take this line out with that clipper closed with that 0 guard on there now. And as you can see, it looks like that 0 guard did a really good job of taking out that line. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going back in with my clipper open and just doing some more detail work. So I did say that I detailed it earlier on in the haircut, but I decided to do some more detail work now because obviously it wasn't, the fade wasn't 100% like I wanted it to be. Like it still needed some cleanup work. So that's what I'm doing now, guys. And that's perfectly fine. Like you can go through your steps and the fade might not look its best, when you're done with your initial steps, but you can always go back in and detail. And like I said, guys, I think most of the work is the detail work. You know what I'm saying? Like the steps, I feel like the steps are easy. Your initial guidelines, they're easy, but it's the actual detail work that really sets you apart from other barbers, because that's where, them top-notch fades, them top-tier fades really come in. It's that detail work. When you have a good eye for detail, you're going to do really good when it comes to detailing. And when you're detailing it and, you're taking that cut to that next level, it's going to look good. So as y'all, I don't know if y'all seen it or not, but there was a slight line at the bottom of that fade where I went in with the trimmer and the shaver. So I was just taking it out with that trimmer. So remember, guys, if you do happen to leave a line with your trimmer or your shaver, you can always go back in and tap at it with your trimmer, and that should, for the most part, take it out. All right, guys, now we're moving on to the lineup, and as you can see, I started off in the middle of his forehead, and I'm just moving my way over, little by little, till I create a perfect straight guideline. Now, I am gonna let y'all know now, this video ain't too long. I think it's already almost towards the end of it. I didn't show any razor work. I just did this because, sometimes when we cut them kids, man, they're a little antsy and they want to get out the chair. So I didn't really have time to, keep recording everything. So I just recorded one side. I didn't record any razor work, but y'all get the gist of everything. Y'all see your boy putting in work, and it's becoming it's coming together all right here. Shout out to my boy Alex, man. He was a good model for this video. All right, so now that that line is put in, I'm going back in and doing some more detail work. Cause like I said, guys, sometimes you put that line in and it really, it brings out that fade a little more. It makes everything pop so you can see discrepancies better. So most of the time I put that line in there and I decide to go back and do some more detail work just to make sure, that fade is top notch. And all I'm doing is I'm adjusting that lever open and close. I'm going in halfway with that lever, just getting away all these discrepancies and all these dark spots. Alright guys, so this is the cut. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comment section, guys. If y'all like this haircut, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. But that's pretty much up. That's pretty much it, YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, let's go.